Hi, this is Keir from Shopify. Today we're going to have a quick look at product handles and how we can use those for CSS purposes and also to render different templates depending on the type of product that we're actually viewing. Okay, so before we start, let's just go to the admin, and I just want to show you where you find product handles. Now, a handle is very similar to a slug in other platforms such as WordPress, and it's created for you automatically when you create a product, but you can actually override it. This is our coffee grinder page. If we scroll down to the bottom, you can see this section here, URL and handle, and it's called coffee-grinder. Now we could change that. There's no real need. It's perfect for our uses for this demonstration, but if you had a particular need to, then you can actually just change it there and then save it out. Okay, so we actually use the product handles in a couple of places within our themes. What I tend to do when designing a Shopify theme is add a number of useful potential classes to the layout file. Now, the layout file is the outer skin of our theme. It's the file that includes all of the sort of the furniture that's going to appear on the majority of the pages, as well as our HTML declaration and that kind of stuff. But I just really want to show you down here the body element here. Okay, so we're doing a couple of things. The first is we're adding the name of the template to the ID. Now, the name of the template will return things like collection or cart or blog. That's useful for hooking into more perhaps some JavaScript or that kind of thing. But actually what I tend to do is add in a lot of the different things relating to the particular product or the particular collection to the class attribute here. So let's just bring that down a bit, and hopefully that will highlight it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm asking a couple of questions using Liquid. I'm saying if the template, now remember template will just return the name of the template minus the .liquid extension, equals product. So if it is the product template, then it will return the word product. So I'm just doing a very, very simple check there, comparison. And I'm saying if template equals product, then I want to output the class name of product and then leave a space and then product dash and then the handle associated with that particular product. So in the case of our coffee grinder, if we're on the product template, it will output product, leave a space and then product dash coffee dash grinder, and then I close off my end if statement. Now what this will result in is every time we view a product template, the handle of that particular product that we're viewing will be injected here with the prefix of product dash. Now this is really useful if you want to hang custom CSS styles or maybe some JavaScript off that particular product, and I'll show you how easy it is to hook into those in a minute. I also do the same thing for collections here. I say if template equals collection, then add in collection dash and then the handle of the that particular collection. So all the ideas that we'll discuss here can also be applied to the collection template as well. So just let me move that back just so I don't butcher my layout file. I'll just save that. So let's have a quick look. If I go to this particular page in the store and I use the inspector, you'll see that I've got the name of the template as an ID. You may or may not want to use that. I really just show it just for demonstration purposes, what you might use the ID for there. And then in the class attributes here, I've got class of product and then product dash coffee grinder. So if we wanted to hook into that particular page, all we'd need to do in our CSS would be something like this: dot product dash product coffee. So I'm losing my thread. Grinder. I could do something like background yellow. I could save that out and refresh, and suddenly just for that particular product our background is now yellow. So just to prove that works, if I go to the edible coffee cup, that's still white. Obviously that's a really, really simple way of using the CSS hook there, but you could extend that further. You could hook into product as well, so we could do product and we could override the H2 and say something like putting that in the wrong place, and we could say the color of that was green. So again, we're just hooking in to that particular template with some very, very simple hooks, and then overriding those a little bit deeper with some hooks for the background and so forth. But we can use handles in other ways as well. We can actually use them as logic kind of controllers in many ways. So let me show you how to do that. Let's say that for the coffee grinder I wanted to include a completely different template, a completely different markup for that particular product. All I would need to do is I would create a snippet. So let's create a new snippet. Now when I create snippets I tend to prefix them and name them as appropriate as possible. So this is a replacement product template, so I prefix it with product, and it's just for the coffee grinder, so I'd again keep things simple and just use the format we've already got, which is the handle coffee-grinder, and I'll name it .liquid at the end there. Now I actually want it to be very similar, so I'm just going to copy in the code we have for that particular product template there, and I'm just going to paste it in. But what I actually want to do is put in the words brand new in front of the title. So I'm just going to save that. Now nothing's going to change at the moment, it's just going to stay exactly the same. But what I can do in my product.liquid template is I can ask a question at the beginning using some liquid logic. Now you remember how I asked the question in the layout file, if template equals product? Well, I can also ask a question in here, something like this, using the liquid logic. If product.handle equals coffee grinder. Now remember, we can change this handle ourselves if we want to, or we can use when we create a new product, it will just get created for us. If that's true, what I want to do is include, now this will add in the snippet for us from our snippets folder, product, I think I need to put that in quotes, product dash coffee dash grinder, and I don't need the .liquid extension because Shopify will work that out for us. But if it's not, what I want to do is use the else statement to say output the normal code that we'd use for every other product, and then I need to do the end if at the end. Okay, so all I'm doing here is checking the handle when the page loads, and if it equals coffee grinder, I'm going to include the product-coffee-grinder snippet. Include allows us to include things from our snippets folder in our theme. There's a few I've used in previous screencasts, such as an advert and the header as well, which we use in the layout file. But if that's not true, then I'll just go right ahead and use the code that we've already got. Now, the only visible difference should really be the word brand new before the title. Right, so let me save that. And that's uploaded, so fingers crossed. If I refresh this now, yep, the color background has stayed the same and the CSS has stayed the same, but what I've actually done is included the snippet instead, and we can tell this from the fact that we've got brand new prefixing the title. Now let's just double check that that logic is working, go to a different one. Let's go to the edible coffee cup. As you can see, we don't have the prefix brand new there, so that's just gone ahead and used the code, effectively the default code that we've got for our product.liquid template. Now you might want to take this further and actually make your life a little bit simpler by creating another snippet called product-default. Oh, I've done that in the wrong place. Let me save this and do that. .liquid. So all I'm doing is creating a new snippet called product-default, and I'm just going to copy in all the information we have after our else statement there. I'm just going to actually cut that and paste that in and save it, and then go back to our template and actually say if it's not product-coffee-grinder, then include the default template, product-default. This will have the exact same end result, but it's just a little bit neater maybe when you're dealing with your code, when you sort of use these particular templates more as logic controllers, that you do it like this. It's a little bit easier to read if you're working in a team or handing the code over to someone else. So let's see, hopefully this will work. I can go to the coffee grinder, I get the coffee grinder template. If I go back to the catalogue and I go to handmade coffee tamper, I just get the default one. Now you could go further, and instead of doing a direct comparison, you could use the contains operator. Now what we could do is we could do contains and just look for coffee. So this would then include the specific template that we asked for, but only if the handle contains coffee. So if my memory serves me correctly, if we go back to the coffee grinder, you'll notice that we have included that snippet because the handle has the word coffee within it. But if I go back to the mustache mug, then that hasn't used it because it doesn't. But we do have a number of products with coffee in the title, so let's just double check that. If I go to handmade coffee tamper, you can see that we have actually used that particular snippet because it now says brand new. It hasn't applied the yellow background, or because simply the handle on the class on the body doesn't include coffee-grinder. So there's a couple of ideas for you, a couple of ways that you can use the product handle or the collection handle to control which templates are rendered, and also a really simple demo of how to hook into the body class with those handles so that you can use CSS to your advantage, or JavaScript of course. Now what this means is that you can really open up the possibilities with your theme. You don't have to be limited to one template for your product within your store, for your products within your store. You can actually use this particular template more as a logic controller, and then you can have a number of snippets, and there's a couple of ways that you can call those in. You can either do a direct comparison on the product handle, or you can use the contains operator here and just check for a single word. This means that if you had t-shirt in all of your product handles and you check for t-shirt, you can include a particular snippet. Or you could get more granular, t-shirt, cup, whatever it is, and include those as you wish. Hopefully you found that useful. It's a really simple way of having product-specific templates or collection-specific templates. There are other ways that you could achieve this. Obviously you could go further by using the else if statement as well, and you can find details of those logic flow controllers in themes documentation on the Shopify website, which is docs.shopify.com/themes, and you can just have a look for things like operators to do all the different comparisons. There's contains, that's the one that we used, includes a substring if used on a string, or element if used on an array. Put simply, does our handle contain the word that we were looking for? There's a whole bunch of other things you can do as well, using things like different logic operators here, like case and various other ones. So there's a few ways that you can approach that, but this one works really well if you just didn't want to check for maybe one or two different words or one or two product handles. Okay, feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions about that. My email address, as always, is Keir, that's Keir at shopify.com, or you can find me on Twitter where my username is @KeirWhitaker. Thanks a lot.